Go home, go hard, go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, go home, go hard, go home. Yeah, these are championship rings on my hands now. In my head I'm top 10, yeah, that's hands down. You a squad, know you're looking man down. Funny how foes turn to friends now. Drive a race car like a Atari now. Call filling up, I need product again. Treat the business like a playground, might slide on you. Don't even want my phone. Do a backflip, cause I'm mad rich. I'm the definition of what that is. Go hard, go home, go hard, go home, go hard, go hard, go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, go home.
Good evening. It is your boy Harish with my guy Tim Wayne. Tim Wayne, what's up, man? Why are you shaking your head, bro?
Because I'm sad. It's over.
Yeah, we'll talk about this as we look into the season. What a magical season this was. Really, yep. This season was true. This is the type of season Texas fans have been yearning for years. And although it ends in disappointment, look, I feel like we are a year ahead of schedule. I think recruiting's going really well.
Yeah.
The play on the field is going really well. But the thing that we talked about we didn't talk about this with everyone else because we didn't exist last year. But the one thing you and I talked about last year is
right.
Texas had an opportunity to exceed expectations, and they missed the opportunity again, right? What do I mean by that? So let's take last year, for example. You and I probably had them going 8-5, but they had multitude of opportunities to go 9-3. 10-2, maybe get into the Big 12 championship game. And there's just those games that they just fell short in. The Oklahoma State, for example, the Oklahoma State game they fell short in. The Texas Tech game where where Bijan drops the fumble in the overtime. When you flash forward to this year, they lose at Oklahoma, and you're kind of holding on. It's like, well, you and I were like, well, man, these guys are good. We had them losing 2 games and still winning the Big 12.
Absolutely.
They end up going 11-1.
Right.
Getting to the college football playoff and basically having a chance to win it up until the last play of the game. Like, that's not something that we expected to happen, but it happened. So we'll have an opportunity to break all that down. By the way, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2024. Made it to another new year. Only 4 days in. We've got a lot to talk about. But before we get started, as always, we've got to give a shout out to our guys, FanBattleSports.com. Find the latest and greatest from the AFC South, including the Colts, the Titans, the Texans, and the Jaguars. Hey, they're real quick. There's a key matchup in the AFC South this week.
Yeah, Texans versus Colts.
Texans, Colts. the most unlikeliest teams to have any expectations whatsoever will meet Saturday night, prime time. Now, real quick thought on this game.
Okay.
As a Colts fan, I think the Texans are going to blow us out. But the interesting thing about this game is this game, all of a sudden, if Jacksonville loses on Sunday to the Titans,
which is very possible,
this game is for the division. So this is a very, and then all of a sudden you're talking about a home playoff game. So you Texans fans out there, there you go. I didn't get a chance to jump on the Horseshoe Show last night because I forgot it was Tuesday. And 2 nights ago.
Wednesday.
I forgot it was Wednesday. I forgot on Tuesday night I didn't jump on because I forgot it was Tuesday. Me and the wife had to go take some stuff for the house, and I just lost track of time. So I have the Texans winning that game, probably something along the lines of like 24-10. But anyway,
okay,
we're not talking about the Texans. We're not talking about the May-Week Titans. We're here to talk about Texas. FanBattleSports.com. Also, if you're interested in starting your own podcast, hit us up. Contact at FanBattleSports.com. Just go to the website, hit the contact button, put in your information. Let us know what you want to start up. We'll help you get started. The graphics, the streaming services, the socials. We set up everything for you. We're trying to make this easy to pop up for as many as for you folks there. So FanBattleSports.com. Thanks to those guys. Of course, following us on Twitter. Guys, the engagement on Twitter has been nothing but spectacular. For anybody, and Tim is the graphics guy. He does all the cool stuff, the little flashes, the blings. I'm the guy that talks the most.
Whoa. I like to be on the Twitter account. It's just that you go so hard.
I just go.
My thoughts and tweets get lost in the function. That's the thing. I know for a fact that I could throw a tweet out there and it's going to get ate up by the sheer mass volume of tweets and replies that you make throughout the Twitter channel. So
that's fine.
No, it's not fun because I'll be wanting to say stuff too.
Say stuff, man. Maybe we need to have a time where I don't get to say anything. A 3-hour block of time every day where I just don't get on the account. Because I just throw my thoughts out there. Everything Texas.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, follow us on Twitter, LH Fan Battle. Guys, we've got some really cool guests set up for the offseason already. Tim and I are going to be talking through this at the end of the show, kind of set everybody up. We've got some really cool guests for you guys over the next 6 to 8 weeks.
This is going to be
probably a couple months.
This is going to be pretty fun.
Gonna have a good time.
The guests that you have targeted, I never thought we would get them. And for you to just be out here just shooting your shot, talking to people, sliding in DMs, whatever the case may be, man, it's to get the response is like super crazy.
It's just about shooting your shot, right? Just like you shoot your shot at the some girls' DMs, bro. You just shoot your shot. Whatever happens, happens.
Right. Yeah. What's the worst they can say is no, right?
What's the worst that could happen? They don't respond. Okay, we'll try again in a couple weeks, I guess. Whatever. But next week's the one you listen. I'm going to throw a hint out there. If you are an NCAA football fan, you want to pay attention next week.
This is going to be big.
We've got a good one.
This is going to be big.
Yeah. So, we will put out a calendar once we get everything finalized. I'll try to get it out. Today's Thursday. I'll probably get it out by Saturday. That's the goal. Need to work with the guys there at the network, and we'll get that all set up. But follow us on Twitter at Longhorn Fan Battle. And, of course, follow us on YouTube for all the latest and greatest weekly shows. We'll have guests throughout the offseason. We're going to try to do some different things this offseason. We've got basketball season around the corner. We don't stop at football. We are all Longhorns all the time. Anything that's happening on the full all year long. We are 365-day Twitter channel, YouTube channel. We will be here every Thursday, 8:30, talking about something.
Right. All
right, Tim. Let's deep dive into it. let's talk about the game. So Texas obviously loses 37-31 to Washington. Give me your thoughts just overall on the game.
Sloppy.
Okay.
If I can give it one word, it's sloppy.
Did it remind you a lot about the OU game?
It reminded me more of the TCU game last year.
Okay.
where
Okay, that's interesting.
The reason why I say that is because there was opportunities for Texas to take leads. There was opportunity for Texas to just put the ball in the end zone. Obviously, it's really difficult when you have penalties, a ton of penalties. Your corners didn't have the greatest game. Your quarterback the opposing quarterback just so happens to be on fire. You make them one-dimensional, right? But even though when you make them one-dimensional, they're still able to punish you, and that's exactly what happened. And I mentioned that last week, is that like even if Byron Murphy and Sweat are able to get the pressures, not necessarily the sacks, but just getting the pressures up, they could still do something. And from what we understand, they had over 20 pressures from the quarterback. In a pressure, if you guys are not familiar, is basically when you move the quarterback off his mark, right? Whether he has to make an adjustment, step up in the pocket, drop back a little further in the pocket, whatever the case may be. There was 20 of those, right? So a good fraction of Michael Penix's attempts were pressures. So the line, now, to give credit where credit is due, Washington's line did step up.
They were surprisingly very good.
They're not. It wasn't surprisingly. We know the numbers. They only gave up 11 sacks on the year.
Well, I'm thinking like as far as what we expected versus what we saw on Monday, I was surprised at how well that line held up. Here's what I thought, right? And really the exact opposite of what I thought would happen. I thought we would be able to get pressure up the middle, which would allow for the ends to close in and really kind of almost like box in a way, box Michael Penix in,
collapse the
pocket, make him make throws that were uncomfortable. The one thing that disappointed me, and we talked about this during the game in our group chat, there were no simulated blitzes for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And the moment they started doing it, Michael Penix throws it away on that 3rd and 10, right? Where he's looking down the field. I think a linebacker comes down. If I'm not mistaken, maybe it was Anthony Hill comes down, and he's forced to throw the ball out of bounds.
Right.
That was the type of stuff I was looking for. It doesn't have to be all. Obviously, you can't do it every play.
Right.
I think there were certain scenarios, especially earlier in that first drive of the 3rd quarter was a great time to do it. They're coming straight out the locker room. It's almost it was a 0-0 game.
Yeah.
As poorly as they'd played, it would have been a great time to say, okay, we have an opportunity to turn the game on its head. Right. And do something here. And I just don't think that happened. This is probably the worst. This is probably the worst coach game I've seen PK have as a defensive coordinator at Texas.
I think PK got to go.
I don't disagree, and I don't think there's a. But then I'm also looking at it. Here's the thing: you go back and you watch the film. The guys were there for most of those plays. I mean, the coverage wasn't bad. It's just like little things. It's the details that really bug me about the secondary. Mm-hmm. And you talk about development of the secondary. And I was listening to Alex Dunlap. Shout out to him, Orange Bloods Live. Listening to rosterwatch.com, by the way. I was listening to him earlier, like maybe Tuesday, and he mentioned something. He's like, maybe it's not that these guys aren't developing. It's this that's just as good as they are, and they just don't have the talent. And it made you think. It's like Sark. You and I talked about this just 2 or 3 weeks ago. National Signing Day 1, and Sark mentioned it in his press conference. He says, "I want to be more aggressive at the point of attack."
Right.
And I made a point to make sure we could do that with the class that I signed this year.
Right. He had 6 defensive backs in one draft or one class.
That was just the recruiting class. He also, since then, has gotten Andrew Makuba
Right.
in the transfer portal, and they're still looking at one other guy, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Sark knew this, and he knew this is a weakness of the defense.
Ryan Watts got cooked.
He got decimated. But even looking at some of the Ryan Watts stuff, right? I think to me it's the small details. They were there for some of those throws. If they just turn their darn heads around and look for the ball, you have opportunities to contest them, take them down. Some of those balls were right in 50-50 balls.
So what happened to Ryan Watts playing safety? What happened to that?
I just don't think they had the ability. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's something it's something I'd heard. I don't know why they didn't do it. It's something I also am hearing heading into next season. But then now I'm at a point with Ryan Watts with this. Now we've got a lot of talent coming in. Where does he fit in? Because Xavier Filsaime and Andrew Makuba, I think, are going to take up our safety spots.
Yeah.
I'm really concerned. I'm really, and then you look at Jaron. Was it Jaron Thompson? Not Jaron Thompson. The guy that played the slot. Not Jaron Thompson. Who am I thinking of? Shoot, what's his name? Jahdae Barron. Jahdae, really, McMillan doesn't do much in this game. Jahdae Barron actually locks him down pretty well.
Jahdae was all over the field that game. He had to almost. He was the shining spot in the secondary.
He played really well. He really played well.
He was a shining spot in the secondary.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why. Were they scared to man up? Like they were so. Again, you go back and you watch some of these plays. They're so far off the receivers. It's like, what the hell is going on?
I think it goes back. Looking back at it now, I think PK knew that these guys couldn't cover.
So also, I mean, if you look at what they did, how they attacked them, they did just like Houston did.
Yeah. Well,
they just went deep.
Yeah.
They split that cover too.
Michael Penix also threw the ball very well. If you remember that first drive where the second half, when Derek Williams comes back in, those 2 safeties are there, but he split those safeties so damn well with that. Like, that's just one of those throws where like, well, ain't nothing you can do.
Overthrew him. Receiver still had enough speed to tip the ball to himself and catch it. Oh man, that right there.
But again, Malik Muhammad has Malik Muhammad has both hands on almost. He almost picked that ball off. It tipped off of his hands up into the air, and Polk was able to go get it. Like, I mean, there are some of those plays where it's just like, what else can I do? But then for the most part, the very first play of the game where he splits the safety in the corner, I think is that Watts that gets beat, the corner that gets beat, and then the safety has to come down and he's too late. There's just a lot of weird communication.
There's a lot of poor angles too. Let's not just pour on Watts either. There was a lot of, from a secondary perspective, there was a lot of poor angles taken. It wasn't that they weren't hitting, because they were hitting, but
they weren't tackling.
As far as going to the receiver and making the tackle, there was poor choice of angles.
It's almost like they were in some certain instances, they were just trying to rock the receiver in hopes that they dropped the ball and that would be it. You know, Odunze, he goes 6 for 125, but the majority of that comes out of that long ball that he has.
Yeah.
Both of them, I mean, Odunze and Polk both have over 100 yards. They don't have that many receptions. A lot of their receiving yards come off of one play, and then the rest of it is just not tackling.
Right.
Listen, we knew we were gonna give up big plays. It's just the type of offense they were.
They only punted 3 times in the game, dog.
That's crazy.
3 times. That's unacceptable.
Where would you say the game turned?
For in light of Texas or in light of Washington?
In light of Texas was down basically the whole game. That was the other part I wanted to talk about. Texas did nothing but try to play catch up the entire game.
Yeah.
They were down 7-0. They were down 14-7. They were down 21-14. They go down 31? Was it 31-21? Yeah, they go down 31-20. That third quarter was so difficult to watch. And then to see Quinn just kind of sit on the sideline. I think partially part of that, I think Quinn was actually concussed.
A lot of people say that. He did take a nasty hit.
Yeah.
His head hit the back of when he fell down, the back of his head hit the turf. Which, in that case, that's unfortunate that did happen. I just felt like there was situations where we didn't utilize the screens. It's like what we did was just completely like it just null and void. Like they just didn't use it. They didn't utilize.
We ran no screens all game.
No screens. Jatavian Sanders usually gets a tight end screen. We know Xavier Worthy gets to get him going and to get Quinn going. You always know that there's usually wide receiver screen. Didn't get any of that. Nice. At this point, I'm actually looking for this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's not there. Run the ball decent. You got CJ Baxter. He 9 carries, 64 yards. You would think off 9 carries and 64 yards, you would keep giving the goddamn ball to CJ Baxter.
I think that's the other thing.
The process of you playing catch up,
that's
where you go. But you man, that's just it hurt. That hurt.
They spend so much time being off script. We talk a lot about Sark sticking to the script in his opening game script. I don't think Sark ever really truly got to use his opening game script.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. Look, listen, every time they wanted to do something, they're falling behind the chains. Whether there's a penalty that occurs.
Man, the offensive line.
Christian Jones, this game was atrocious. Christian Jones got eaten alive by Braylon Trice. And you know why? You know what? Braylon Trice lines up on Christian Jones' side Braylon Trice, when he was lined up against Kelvin Banks, couldn't do anything. Until the end of the game.
What's really weird to me as far as the offensive line is concerned, there was a lot of false starts.
Yeah.
It was a lot of false starts. So this
majority of it was on Christian Jones.
So here's the thing. If you how many false starts were there? Maybe 4 or 5?
At least definitely 4 for sure.
If you can't hear, if one of your guys can't hear, you can't in a game of this importance, you got to change up your snap count. Unfortunately, you got to do it. When you keep getting penalized like this, I can't remember how many penalties they had in one half, but at one half they had like 5 or 6 penalties, was like equal to 30 to 40 yards.
They had like 2 on one drive.
Yeah.
And then you had the illegal shifts. That was another thing that was frustrating.
Yeah, and then you get to a point to where you're 3rd and 27 and Quinn drops back. He throws the ball. You get to 3rd. You get to
Baxter.
Yeah. 2. Oh
no, he gets the first down. That throw that Quinn has to CJ Baxter on like 3rd and whatever that was.
Yeah.
To keep that drive going. That was beautiful throw, by the way. But it gets called up by a penalty. I think that was the illegal shift.
Man, that hurt.
It's just little. But again, that's what brings me back to the OU game.
That's by
these are the things. Kept shooting themselves in the foot. I don't think Texas ever. Quinn ends up 24-43 for 318 and a touchdown. I don't think Quinn ever gets the opportunity to truly sink his head into this game. And despite that, inability to do that. I thought he would play cold for 80% of the game. He doesn't ever get an opportunity to get into a rhythm. He doesn't really get an opportunity to get into this game and get involved and even have an opportunity to go pound for pound.
Right.
Look, I thought Quinn was going to throw for almost 500 yards in this game. What we saw from Penix is what I expected from Quinn.
It definitely could have happened. That definitely could have happened. I expected it to happen. It just with the penalties and getting shot in the foot. What do you expect?
Oh yeah. With that being said, you have a shot at the end of the game to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Take me into the last 4 plays in your head.
The last 4 plays were actually beautiful. If you go back and you really look at those last 4 plays, to be able to get down to where they were with no timeouts, that was very, very impressive. What I would have liked to see is I would have liked to see a little bit more love for Ja'Tavion Sanders on that. That last play, Quinn makes a throw that's a little bit off. It is kind of questionable from a defensive standpoint with Washington because they definitely had his hand wrapped around A.D. Mitchell's helmet.
Yeah.
So I get it. You don't want a game to end like that, and you want to let them play, but at the same time, it's just like when I go and look at that play, I'm like, that was a catchable ball, and had that defender not been draped over A.D. Mitchell, that's a catch that he normally makes.
I disagree. I don't think you make that call in that situation. I think the only time they make that call is if his hand was around his. Let's just be honest, it was around his neck, right?
Right.
Unless he turns the helmet, he makes obvious contact that prevents him from catching the ball. I mean, he has his knee in his back. If you look at the other,
Mm-hmm.
I think the refs make the right call by not calling it because at that point it's a matter of you don't want to be the guy that allows. Because here's the thing: if they make that call, Texas gets on the 1 yard line, they're winning that game. Washington not stopping them on that run. But absolutely. I mean that's neither here nor there. I agree with the no call. I agree. Here, this is the thing that I noticed that I think we'll see in Quinn's development next year. And listen, before people go bashing Quinn, this dude did everything that he could, and he wasn't given much. His offensive line doesn't help him all game. The defense doesn't help him, especially when in the third quarter, they're just getting toasted. Quinn sits for almost I think the offense runs 5 plays total in the third quarter. Obviously the first drive after Washington comes out and scores, they're moving the ball. Boom, CJ Baxter. That CJ Baxter fumble was the last play they run that third quarter.
Right.
And they don't get the ball back until the very end.
That probably would have put Texas up. I really think they do score on that.
They tie the game again and it becomes 28-28.
Right.
And then defense. I think the one thing that doesn't get talked about is the drive right before halftime, before Washington scores, where they get them out 3 and out. You realize third down. I think Penix overthrows one of the Dunze, and they get the ball back. It was a 3 and out. I was like, oh shit! You have a 3 and out. This is your chance to take this game back over, and they just didn't. They just couldn't do it. I think they also go 3 and out that very next drive. I thought that was a very telling drive that nobody talks about.
Right.
Obviously, the CJ Baxter fumble. I think the Jaden Blue fumble hurts more than the CJ Baxter fumble because it's in the red zone.
Yeah, it's in the red zone.
And it's just been a woe that Texas has had all year.
Yeah.
Texas has struggled in the end zone all year, in the red zone all year. With that all being said, listen, the steps Quinn has taken to be the quarterback of this team this year are leaps and bounds what he was last year.
Oh, for sure.
I expect people don't realize, obviously you and I and our hardcore fans understand this. Colt McCoy, Vince Young, these guys that get us to national title games, they don't do that till their third year in the program.
Right.
Quinn's third year in the program is next year. I expect Quinn next year to be the guy that we've always expected him to be.
Is he coming back is the question.
I think he's coming back. I don't think he leaves with the performance like that. I think right now, if you look at we don't know yet, but I've seen projections like third, fourth round. I don't think he's
really?
Yeah. No, dude, I don't honestly, with as much QB talent as there is in this draft, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Penix probably just shot himself all the way up to the first round.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't foresee a team in the second round taking him. I think with the injuries this year and last year, the inconsistency in play, the inability to put it all together yet, I think all the NFL sees, and I don't know, I haven't really talked to anybody or asked anybody. I think really what the NFL sees right now is flashes of greatness. Mm-hmm. They could see it in him.
Right.
Quinn really needs to come back and put it all together. And I think he does that next year. Last question. Does that picture of Arch did that impact Quinn at all? The cockamamie media crap that they put out there of Arch being all covered and Quinn sitting there at the mic. I think it's like the day before the game or a couple of days before. Oh, it's the Saturday before.
It'll piss me off. Absolutely. It'll piss him off. If he's really the guy that we think he is, that would piss him off.
It should motivate him to do better, right? Do you think it impacted him in a negative way?
I'm gonna come back. I'm going to smoke everybody on this schedule, or I'm gonna try to smoke everybody on this schedule, and we're gonna see what it really is when I come back. If I was Quinn, that's exactly what I would do.
The one thing that can't happen next year
is smoke everybody.
The one thing that can't happen next year is Quinn gets hurt. Absolutely. I think if Quinn gets hurt next year, he's done. I think because the moment Arch comes in next year, it's over. I think Arch is gonna shine.
I think the reason why it would be over for him is because he'd have to look at himself long term and like, hey, I'm trying to get to the next level. He can't really afford to take any kind of major injuries prior to this draft. Now that's why I was questioning if he was going to leave this year or not. Again, you're right. There is a bunch of talent coming out of there. Next year, it's still a lot of talent coming out of there because you still got you still got Will Howard that just went to Ohio State, DJ that just went from Oregon State to Florida State, Shedeur Sanders, Quinn, I can't remember his name.
Is Carson Beck going to be eligible next year?
Just transferred to Syracuse. The quarterback from Ohio State that just transferred to Syracuse.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Kyle McCord.
Right. So it's a ton. And Kyle McCord is not terrible. He just didn't fit in Ohio State's. He wants to throw the ball. They don't really throw the ball like that. So, like, come on, dog. So
that's why it was the oddest thing when I heard that Marvin Harrison Jr. was going there. I think it really went there because CJ Stroud was there at the time.
Absolutely, he went there. But that was one of the hottest quarterbacks in it was Bryce and CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yep.
Yeah, like Penix was at Washington, but prior to that he was at Indiana. Like Marvin Harrison not going to Indiana. You know what I mean?
Michael Penix and Indy. The trend. Let's talk about Michael Penix real quick. The trend I've never seen, and maybe there's just nobody I can think of right now, a quarterback career of that trajectory and that way. A guy who comes into
you have Cam Newton
tore both of his ACLs. Transfers.
Well, yeah, no.
Nobody knows what happens, and then he ends up just blasting both of his ACLs. Cam Newton just like to rob banks, like both of his ACLs. Like, I mean, that's what happened.
Right.
No, damn, that's what happened. He stole some kid's laptop.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
bought a
maybe
stolen
robbing
laptop.
banks is a little
Yeah,
extreme.
he bought a stolen laptop. Gets kicked
There
off.
you go.
Gets
Yeah.
kicked off the Florida team. Goes to Blinn College.
Yep.
There's a secret bidding war for him under between Mississippi State and Auburn.
Yep.
He chooses Auburn. He wins the national championship and he wins the Heisman.
Isn't there a 30 for 30 on Cam Newton?
It's a 30 for 30 on Auburn.
Oh, Auburn. Okay.
Right.
So, but if you look at the scope of Michael Penix's career, that's a crazy story. Comes to Indiana, lights it up. Remember with Fogley? Anyway, he lights it up his first year starting for them. He tears his ACL the next year. Tears his ACL in year 3.
Yeah.
Transfers in year 4, which was last year. Comes to Washington, balls out, was really good.
Yeah.
And then just all of a sudden comes in, gets the national championship game, and just completely listen. Michael Penix, I'm just gonna say he dog walked our defense. Like he absolutely plastered us. And he was really good. So kudos to him. Good luck to them. Any final thoughts on the Sugar Bowl before we move on?
No, the one hope is that we can get back there. Again, get back into the college football playoff. Again, we'll have more of an opportunity next year. I think we'll be one of those top teams at the end of the year to get in there. Especially with the way things are going, like especially with a lot of these SEC schools, we got people jumping in the portal last minute. Ole Miss looks like a team that they're going to be reckoned with until they just lost their best player, which is their running back.
That was weird. Yeah,
that was very weird. It's all types of stuff. You got offensive linemen transferring out from Alabama, going to Ohio State, all types of weird stuff going on. So
teams ghosting, offensive linemen ghosting their schools.
Right. It's been pretty crazy. I think as long as Texas is able to rein it in with their recruits, rein it in with the players, get basically refocused. I think they will be in a good spot next year.
They should be a preseason top 5.
I think they should be a preseason top 4, if you ask me. But
sure. Yeah, top 5. I just put top 5. I think they will be one of the best 5 teams in the nation next year.
Actually, I think they should be a top 3 school. But
I don't disagree with you.
Right.
And if some of these guys that we think might, if a JT Sanders and or AD Mitchell comes back, this is probably a top 2 team in the nation.
Man, would it be? How lovely would it be to have AD Mitchell back?
Fair warning, I don't think AD is coming back. I
don't think so either.
I think the chances of JT coming back are greater though.
Yeah.
They're probably not high, but they're better than JT's probability.
If JT Sanders comes back and has even we also forget JT Sanders did not have a good year health-wise, right?
He's never had a good year health-wise.
He's had some some freaky injuries, right?
Yeah.
So with him not being healthy, he comes back, he has a decent year. I see him in the top 10.
He also could come back. The reason why I think JT comes back next year is, and I think Sark is meeting with them tomorrow. This is just what I heard. I don't know for sure. Right. But this is kind of my pitch is like, dude, we don't know what we have a receiver next year. You will be the guy that we turn to on this offense when things are not. You will have a feature role in this offense next year. You've been here for 3 years or 2 years or 3 years. You've been in this offense. This will now be your 3rd year. I will make you the guy in this offense next year.
Right.
Just because I don't know what I have everywhere else. I don't know what I have from Jonte Cook. I don't know what I have from homeboy from Houston. Wingo. I know I have a lot of talent. I just don't know how to use them yet.
Right.
And you will be the guy that can lead this locker room from that position. So, and then for AD Mitchell, just toss him some money, dude. Just like, hey, man, you want 5? 3? What do you need to stay here to be comfortable?
Right. Let's get your degree. Let's get you paid. We already know you're going to go to the league.
Let's figure that out.
Let's get you paid. Right.
Yeah.
Let's get your masters, and let's go from there.
The trickiest part about AD is he's probably going to go in the first round. He is a first round wide receiver today.
Yeah, he would be late first.
It'll be late first round, right?
Yeah.
You know who I think gets him? I think the Chiefs can go out and get him. If there's a guy that Patrick Mahomes could use,
I think the Chiefs go for AD
or
either one.
Either or. There's a handful of teams that could use either or.
Yeah. Neighbors is going to be up there too. Marvin Harrison is going to be up there too.
I think Rome Odunze is going to be. I think Rome Odunze. Does Rome Odunze jump Marvin Harrison as the number 1 receiver in the draft?
No.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is 6'4".
I'm just asking a question, Tim.
Rome Odunze, listen, he's got the speed, but Marvin Harrison has everything. Not only does he have the speed, not only does he have the hands, not only does he have the height, he's also got a pedigree, right? It's like a thoroughbred horse. You don't go and you get the unknown for what you know. This is a direct product of one of the top 10 wide receivers of all time. Okay, Marvin Harrison.
Shout out Marvin Harrison, my guy.
He's one of the top 10 receivers. People can fight with their moms. From what I've seen, and what I had to watch on Sunday for 15 years,
that dude was a baller.
That dude was a ball.
Was so good.
So
I miss him so much. Hey, listen, man, you ain't gotta sell me. I'm a Colts fan. I know Marvin Harrison's one of the best receivers of all time.
I'm speaking to the people that are watching, bro. Man. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe.
Also, at the same token, in all this, we look at these top 10 teams. We know there's some stupid GMs out there. So I just throw it out there. We've seen these, especially for the Bears. That guy's an idiot. He's a numbnut. So, and then of course the Raiders. I think they're picking in the top 10. Actually, where are we looking at? Just real quick. I don't want to do. We kind of got into this rabbit hole, but since we're here, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
The worst team in the league right now is Carolina. Their owner just threw a beer at one of their fans. So that guy's probably – and he hired a potato head for his head coach to lead his rookie quarterback. So we know he's probably going to pick somebody stupid. The Patriots is what scares me. I think they're starting over, and they're going to get a quarterback. I don't know if that's Caleb. I don't know if that's Michael. I don't know where they go. I think the Patriots are interesting, but they're done with Mac Jones. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
The Cardinals becomes interesting because I don't know what the Kyler Murray situation is.
You can't move off of him, especially the way he's been playing the last month. You can't really move off of him either.
He's got a huge contract, right?
Yeah, he's got a huge contract. And say what y'all want, he's been.
I actually like him. I thought he's been playing pretty well.
He's been this last couple of months or these last couple of weeks. Motherfucker's been balling, right?
Yeah.
So, he just put the Eagles in a blender. So yeah, I definitely.
Oh, that's right. They did just. Well, of course yeah. So and then you got the Commanders. They have Sam Howell.
Yeah, I think they're gonna clear out the whole thing. I don't know what they're gonna do with Eric.
Ron Rivera's gone, right?
I think he's gone this next Monday.
Oh, okay.
I really think after the season that the Black Monday, I think he's gone. I think Eric Bieniemy might be an opportunity for him to be a head coach.
Sneak in there. It makes sense. He's already there.
But he's not. What's the word? He's very old school. He's really got a very old school mentality. I don't know if that's going to necessarily work with that team. Ron Rivera is the same way. It's not working. Yeah. So we don't necessarily know, but I hope he gets an opportunity for sure.
And then if you look at the rest, the Chargers have Justin Herbert. They just had a potato head running their team. The Titans. Well,
that's a toss up. That's a toss up.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Well, their new GM is the guy they brought in, Levis. So I don't know what
Atlanta.
I hope. Yeah, and then you have Atlanta. they're still fighting for the playoffs, technically.
I know.
So I think if they win, they probably win that division. That pushes them back.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have Atlanta. And then you have the Giants are done with Daniel Jones. They'll figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of have the Jets who are kind of in limbo as Aaron Rodgers coming back.
Well, Aaron has made it very clear that he's going to come back.
So then they have they get a quarterback in waiting. So I think there's a lot of options out there. You also talk about Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
You also talk about, there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft class. And it's unlike other years where like the QB fall off is pretty big.
Nah.
I think there's some solid QBs in this. You could build any of these guys and build a franchise. Yeah, you can take any of these guys and build a franchise. If you're not a potato head, you can do that. So anyway, real quick, who you got Monday? Washington or Michigan?
Michigan.
I'll take Washington.
Yeah.
I just think Michael Penix is on a different level. And you've seen when a quarterback is just on it.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to stop him.
Yeah.
You have a score? If you're picking Michigan, you obviously think they're going to keep it low scoring, right?
Yeah. So I'm thinking Michigan 30. No, I'm thinking Michigan. I'm gonna go with the same score that I went last week, which was very close. Michigan 35, Washington 30.
Dang, JJ's gonna throw up 35.
I don't think it's about throwing. I think it's about running.
Yeah. Hey, and they're not going to stop running because that's basically their identity.
Right.
We can see Washington can't stop the run.
Right.
No, that's good. I'm gonna take Washington 35, Michigan 17.
Ooh. Okay.
I just think Michael Penix is just too good.
Right.
And I know Michigan has a lot of good corners. I just think Washington's going to be able to. They just have too many weapons.
Right. That's true.
Just one of those teams that were put together. All right. Talk quickly about the players entering the draft. So we've got Byron Murphy.
Yep.
Xavier Worthy.
Yep.
Jordan Whittington obviously graduates. Right. He's entering the draft. T'Vondre Sweat.
Yep.
I think those are the four that we know of so far.
Those are the four major ones.
Those are four major ones. As we look back at where these guys were, and this is the last Tom Herman class, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
These are the last pieces. How would you? By the way, did you see the shade that Xavier Worthy threw at Texas fans?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
He was hurt. Did we forget? Like, did we forget that for almost a season and a half, a lot of fans did not like Xavier Worthy.
No, they didn't. They gave up on him. And he stayed. There was an opportunity for him to go to USC. That was a thing. Yep.
That was a real thing. I don't necessarily know. I think he thought about it. I don't think he dwelled on it too much. I think he actually wanted to stay here. I think he knew what he had. And I think that he came back, because he knew that they could right the ship, and so in that letter, he did address, it. He mentions fans, people that didn't like him and true fans. He thanked them. So it was I wouldn't even say it was a jab. I just think it was just him recognizing, like, hey, like, I know that a lot of y'all did not like me.
It goes to show how volatile this fan base is. I always describe this fan base as volatile.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly what it is, right?
Any blue blood fan base or any blue blood school is going to have a volatile fan base.
That's fair.
Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Those are just Auburn. You throw Auburn in there, LSU. When you think of those, when I think of that group of individual teams, I look at those. I think about the rabid fan bases that they have. Yeah, like Paul Feinbaum made millions of dollars just talking to SEC fans.
That's true.
So like
That's very true.
yeah, when you have a fan base that hardcore, and Texas being one of them, yeah, it's gonna be one thing that we're going to absolutely hate, and that's next year going in there, especially if Quinn is still here. If Quinn is still here, we're gonna miss not having Xavier Worthy on that outside, because we know at a point in time it could go off. It's just if and when.
Yeah.
The if and when type of situation. So yeah, I hate to see him go, but I understand it. You got to strike while the iron's hot. I definitely think they can all come back. I wish they would all come back. I also think not having Jordan Whittington, that's gonna be amazing.
So Jordan Whittington's the one that I don't think fans realize. I think actually Jordan Whittington's probably the odd man out because everybody loves that guy.
Right.
How could you not? The dude's talk about sticking around through thick and thin, the worst and the best. Bro, this guy came in injured. He came in injured because he injured himself in the state championship game for Cuero. I remember because my father-in-law goes to that game. He's like, bro, this guy that just committed to Texas, that dude is a monster. He's a beast.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I saw the game. That was pretty crazy. He had like 6 touchdowns that game.
Yeah.
And he comes to Texas. He puts on weight because that's what Tom Herman wants him to do.
Right.
Injures himself. Comes all the way back. Injures himself again because that's what Tom Herman wants him to do. Continues to put on weight. Sark comes in and finally gets him back down to where he needs to be. And the dude just took off. These last 2 seasons of Jordan Whittington have been magical. It's almost like COVID gave him the second chance that we didn't think.
Gave him a second opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, it really revitalized his career.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jordan Whittington. Shout out to Xavier also sticking it out through thick and thin. He could have left, like you said, USC. He could have left during the whole USC time or during the transition between Herman and Sark. And the guy stuck around.
Yeah.
This is why I'm telling Texas fans to be careful what you say about Quinn. If you think Xavier Worthy doesn't keep receipts, I guarantee Quinn's keeping receipts.
Absolutely.
Guarantee Quinn's keeping receipts.
I've only had one issue with Quinn ever, and that's the trajectory.
You just don't like him that he throws the ball like a fucking Nerf ball. So that's your only deal with him.
Yeah.
So, but I think Quinn's finally going to put it together. People you have to remember, this guy didn't play. He basically, by the time he was starting at Texas, hadn't played for 2 years.
Right.
So really, this last year was his first in-game. And then it's like, well, look at Michael. Dude, Michael Penix has been in college for fucking 15 years, dude.
People forget he was giving Ohio State hell in Indiana.
As a freshman.
Yeah.
Michael Penix he's got over almost 50 games starting at this point. Quinn's got 24? He's got double the starts. 25?
Less than that. Because he's been injured.
Oh, because he's been hurt? Yeah, so it's probably 22, 20. Chill. He's got to put it together. This guy was the number 1 overall perfect 5-star prospect.
Right.
If Sark doesn't believe that he can't put it together, Sark would have already said, you know what, go ahead and dip out.
I would have moved on from him.
Yeah. So I think Twinn's going to finally put it together next year. He's going to be excellent. Good luck to those guys. I think what I want to say to this draft class is thank you.
Yeah.
Because they played a huge part in turning this program around.
Yeah, they did a lot of recruiting.
A lot of work. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Rebuilding the culture here. And really the legacy of this class for me is finishing what they said they would finish, and that's
Yep.
turning around the trajectory of Texas.
Absolutely.
So thank you to these guys, and obviously JT and AD Mitchell if they choose to move on. Just thank you for turning this program around because this was a special season, and
Yeah, for
I
sure.
want to say thank you to those guys. All right, Tim. Real quick, Big 12 basketball starts tomorrow. Texas plays Texas Tech.
It's a gauntlet.
This Dylan Dessou, I think, is back just in time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they don't play tomorrow. They play Saturday.
Right.
They play here at the. I might try to go check this one out. I'm gonna go see how much the tickets are. I'm gonna go check this one out. What are your expectations for this Texas team in Big 12 play? Because this is a gauntlet of a schedule, kind of like you talked about, right? You play Tech twice. These first
wild.
3 games are all against teams that are 11-2, just
Right.
like you are.
Right.
So what do you think?
There's a possible they could lose all of them.
Yeah.
Very
This
possible.
team could start 0-3.
Right.
But they could also they're also good enough to start 3-0.
Right.
So
I'll just quickly say this. With the recruits that have been brought in and the transfers from the transfer portal, I expect them to be formidable with everything. Again, I haven't really watched all of their games. I've watched maybe 5 of the 12 games. We know that they have the length and we know that they have the defense. It's just something about that offense that has always been very streaky. And so I'm just trying to see exactly what they're planning on doing as far as finding their identity, because you don't really find your identity until you really, really get to the nitty-gritty of your schedule. You kind of get a base idea with the out-of-conference schedule. And we know what they did to a lot of these teams that are out of conference schedule. They, dog walked a lot of them.
They lost the only 2 ranked games they played, and neither of them were really close, right?
Right.
But
right. That's what
injuries. I think Dylan Dessou is the key to all this.
Right.
I think the one thing that becomes a challenge for me, and the one thing I'm curious about, is guard play.
Right.
Max Abrams is a baller. That dude's really good.
Very good.
I don't know if he's a true point guard though. He's
plays,
not the Max Coleman type of point guard that we have.
He definitely plays like a 2.
Yes, he's like a shooter, right?
Yeah, he definitely plays like a shooting guard. Which again, I think that is why he was recruited, is because he can shoot, right? He can put,
which is what we've been missing.
Yeah. Right. So it's like trying to fill this hole. We've got all these other great pieces in line. We've got the length, we've got the height, got the defensive presence down below. We need somebody we need two players that can really take hold of the team and get some offensive firepower in there. So I just know that Big 12 that shit is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
It is not gonna be easy.
No.
Baylor is not gonna be easy. U of H is not gonna be easy. Oklahoma not gonna be easy. Like, these guys are not walks in the park. I ain't even talk about Kansas yet. Like
yeah, like these Baylor's, Oklahoma's another one.
Right.
Houston. These are all, not only are they good, they're veteran teams.
Yeah, they're veteran teams.
They have a lot of juniors and seniors.
The
this is a mixed.
Big 12 could get 7-8 teams in the tournament.
Easily.
Yeah, no.
And joke. You know what? You could get into the Big 12 tournament and at that point think, 8 seed wins the whole thing, 6 seed wins the whole thing, 4 seed wins the whole thing.
Yeah,
like it's very possible. This is a very deep. I don't know there's 14 teams. How does the Big 12 championship? I don't know how the Big 12 tournament works.
I believe it's going to be based off record, so there'll probably be about 4 teams that'll be left out.
Okay, so it's only going to be 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Obviously, stay tuned here. We'll keep you updated. Again, not tomorrow. Texas Tech here in Austin. If
Yep.
you are available, please go to the Moody. I'm going to try to see if I can make there. I need to take a look at some tickets. Go to Moody, support this team. Listen, this life on the 40 acres never stops. The athletic department is on fire and they need your help.
Yep.
So please go support those guys. Texas baseball gets kicked off 55 days, I believe.
Yep.
Somewhere around there. So stay locked in. They'll be like beginning of March is when they get started.
Yeah.
Texas softball as well.
Pitchers and catchers report in February.
Oh. We have a new stud pitcher, new recruit that comes in. So very exciting times on the 40 acres. Tim, going to give you some time. What are your closing thoughts as we end football season? Kind of give yourself a closing statement.
If I could say anything, I will say it's a real, I don't mean to get all philosophical, but like from a fan base perspective, it is a dark period right now because of how that loss was, how it ended, the last play. But I would rather have it that way than to get blown out. So there's that. Also, we really need to look to the light because it's a lot coming in, dog. It is a lot of talent coming in, and I think the future is bright. And with that being said, like we can't get too down on the loss. Again, there are going to be some players in there that are going to be motivated next year. There's already guys, especially receivers, coming in. I believe it was Wingo. Wingo that was basically saying that next year is going to be a revenge tour.
I saw that. I just retweeted this. He says, I'm excited for the revenge that we're going to have.
Right.
A revenge. The revenge we're going to have. We just went 12-2, won the Big 12 title, and lost.
They're talking about revenge.
On the final play.
And they're talking about revenge. So this is
the culture change. This is culture.
Change. Right. So yeah, just stay motivated because I think we're gonna be in for a long haul. It's gonna be a drag out, rough, rough sledding to the mountaintop, but I definitely think we're on the right path to get there.
Yeah, I would say, Texas fans, listen, this is the best team that we've seen in over 15 years.
Yep.
This is a season of dreams for a lot of us, and for a lot of the younger Texas fans, this is the first season of dreams that you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think Steve Sarkisian set us up for not just immediate success, but he set us up for long-term success.
Absolutely.
Not only on the field, but in recruiting, off the field, NIL. And look, I think Steve Sarkisian is going to win a national title in the next 3 to 5 years, if not sooner.
Yeah.
But we've got to stay patient. I get that this is a fan base that wants instant gratitude,
mm-hmm.
and we've got to understand next year is really another year of transition as far as what's happening in the football world.
Right.
Yeah, they're not just Texas moving into the SEC, a bunch of teams changing a bunch of conferences.
Right.
And then you've got, Texas OU going to the SEC, Oregon, Washington, all USC, their powerhouse teams are moving to the Big Ten.
Absolutely.
You've got a lot of Group of 5 teams moving to the ACC. And then, of course, you got, some Pac-12 teams coming down to the Big 12.
Right.
Stay patient. There's a lot going on in the college football world. Live in the present.
Mm-hmm.
And stop tweeting negative things at our players, guys. These guys are busting their asses to keep.
These are kids.
These are 18, 19, 20, 21. Now, if you go to school and you're bashing them, go, all the power to you. But grown folk, come on, man.
I mean, it is. They are fans. Fan is short for fanatic.
I get it.
I get it. Let's just not. Let's not. I'm all for talking shit, but I'm not for threatening players' lives and stuff like that. That's lame. Don't do that. I've seen
Or telling players to leave because if they want to leave because of NIL, don't hold it over our head.
right.
Just saying, hey, listen, I'm not here to call people out. We're content creators just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We're much smaller than a lot of folks, and we get that. But just if you don't want to be put on blast, now you know these players will put you on blast. If you don't want to be on blast, then just mind your words. And if you do want to get put on blast, get ready for the smoke because it's coming.
Absolutely.
By the way, I took a lot of smoke from Washington folks, and they actually took it pretty well. It only lasted a couple hours. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I saw it.
I did a good job. But hey, until then, again, my name's Harish. This is my boy Tim Wayne.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Peace.
Joe Gabriel.
Go hard, go home, home, home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn